Okay, so this is the section that I didn't get to in the recording for managing a smart guide template. So these are things that you can do in addition, or just things that you need to understand about the smart guides that are good for management. It's good for the user to be able to see, etc. Okay, so not just an admin. So I want to talk about understanding progress and momentum. So Sugar Automate, which is the umbrella for all the Sugar guides, smart guides, measures the performance of each smart guide using smart guide progress and smart guide momentum. Smart guide momentum measures is the image you see here at the top, measures how efficient the smart guide has advanced with respect to time-based performance standards set by the admin. So whatever is in that particular activity, whatever momentum you said it was had, this is how much time we expected you to have it done. This is how much time it actually got done, which may be good or bad. Okay. And then this is the third bullet, and the picture at the top is the same. So when your user is looking at this, they will actually see a progress bar, and the progress bar. The Smart Guide progress lets you know how close to completion. That means how many steps have you gone that you've actually, yep, done it. I check mark that off. It's complete, and it will mark those as completed, and the blue bar represents the percentage of points that you have completed relative to the Smart Guide's total point value. So if you did a portion of a progress bar, then a portion of an activity, then it will show that portion in that progress bar. Okay, so calculating momentum. So for most processes, there's an optimal amount. Like this should take this amount of time, should lapse in this particular stage or this particular activity. And this is called process momentum. Momentum functionality in Sugar Automate allows you as an admin, if you have that functionality, to define the optimal time to completion. So this is what you think the due date should be. So you can see down here at the bottom, let me get my, well, I'll put an arrow on it. Momentum due date at the bottom. So for each task, they have, or each activity task in a stage has a momentum due date and momentum points. Some things you can give higher points, some things you can have lower points. So momentum points contribute to the momentum score because there's going to be a score at the end. I'll show you how we calculate that in just a second. All the fields associated with the momentum are located on the activity, task, meeting, or call record. Okay, they all have them. So as an example, in this example that we see down here at the bottom, the Smart Guide template has been set up in two stages. So we have A and B in one activity and C and D in another activity. So there is a potential, if you scoot over here to the far right, there's a potential for that particular stage to have 200 points, right? It's just adding these 2 points up. And for the second one, the potential is 120, total of 320, okay? So let's just say you want to calculate what the momentum should be. So it's going to be, this is the expected time divided by how much did it actually take for them to hit the check mark, yep, it's complete, times the potential activity point. So let's put this in real life terms. So let's say that activity A, this very first one at the very top, there's a total of expected time of 120 hours. Is that right? Hold on. Just a second. Yeah, hours. That's right. So 120 hours. And the actual time took longer is 144. So we're going to multiply that by the total momentum points, or the potential activity points, and we get 83. So 83, so keep that number. We're going to scoot it down here to the bottom to our formula. That's just like the one at the top here. And we're going to say that tasks B, C, and D were all done perfectly and they get 100% on those. So they're going to get 83 for the first one because they didn't get the total 100 points because they did it slower than we thought they should. And they get the full 100, 80, and 40 points. So we're going to add those all up, and that's out of or divided by the 320, that's the potential momentum points. So that's 95%. So that's the momentum, or basically the end score for this particular the whole Smart Guide template, okay, that they used. So it's going to look like this in the dashlet, okay? So there is a Smart Guide momentum dashlet, and it's going to show at 95% for this particular momentum for this particular opportunity. Okay, that makes sense? If it doesn't, let me know in the next meeting and we'll talk about it. Okay, so calculating progression is a lot easier. So an admin is going to assign the point values because you did that when you set up each of the activities. It's 1 to 10. It defaults to 10. So if you think something should have a lower point value, then you can change it. It doesn't matter. So what it's going to do is add up all of those points. So you can see here in the hover, when you hover over the progression bar, when a user's using it, it gives you the total points. So when you have an activity that's in progress, it's going to put it at 30%. So 30% of the total point value. So if it's a 10-point value activity, they're going to give you 3 points. For all of those activities that are held, completed, not held, or not applicable, meaning that it didn't match them, they'll get credited for 100% of those points. So if they were all 10 and there were 4 of them, they would have 40 points. Okay, so out of the total, it's going to add all those together by the potential total, right? The total of the Smart Guide reports. So for example, if the total point potential was 240, and out of that, you've completed 80 points, it's going to take 80 divided by 240, that's 33%, and then it's going to round up to the whole number, okay? So 33% would have been, in this case, they have 30 points, so they just started probably the first activity, and divided by the total, 120, and so that comes out to 25%. And there, I don't think there's rounding on that. I think that that's exactly what it rounds up to. Okay, so that's progress, what an end user will see. Most of the time, momentum is, and it's not that a user can't see it, it's just mostly used by what management would look out to see if are we scaling these numbers correctly. If everybody is not getting 100%, then where are they falling short? Which activities take longer? They can see all that in the momentum chart. Okay. All right, so there is a way to export and import a guide. So let's say you're working in your sandbox and you're ready to export this out, right? You've tested it. Everybody seems to be on board with it. Looks great. You're on the actual record itself, right? You were in the list view, you clicked on it, it's opened up the quick deal, and you can go to the drop down and go to export. And in my case, since I'm using Chrome, it just goes up here to the top. It puts it as a .json file, which I believe is also in here somewhere, but where it defines it. But anyway, here it is. I can open it up. I don't have to be able to read it. It's actually, let's see, it's telling me what kind of app I want to open it in. Hold on. Notepad. Let's see if that works. Yeah, there it is, right? I can't read that. If you can, great. You don't need to. I just have it in my downloads folder. And if I opened up a different instance, so give me 1 second, I'm going to open up a second instance here and pretend that this is my production environment. Okay, hold on, copy. And I'm going to open it up in a separate tab here. So this is my pretend production environment, and I want to import this new instance. I got to sign in as Jen. Now I could sign in as another user, and I'll show you in a little bit how you can set a roll up that will allow someone who says in their a user page that they are just a regular user, they're not an admin, they could still get access to the Smart Guide configuration template section. So I have to go back down to, this is now a whole new instance. This is not the one that I created it in. So if I go back down to templates, and now that's open on the left-hand side. See here where if I hover, it says Smart Guide Templates. In that menu, there is an import feature, okay? So there's not a quick deal in this particular environment. So I'm going to browse for it. I'm going to open it up in my downloads folder. Oh, there it is right there. Quick deal, open, and then import, real easy. There's no other mapping you got to do, right? It's going from one instance to the same version and edition of Sugar. And there it is. It's imported it in. So now I'm going to make sure that it says active, and it does, right? It is check marked. So if I went into a opportunity right now, a user could pull it up. Let's just show you what it looks like. So I have it at the very bottom of, and here it is, right? It's empty. So I'm going to open up Quick Deal, which is the one we had, and then my specific quick deal that I created after I click add will show up in that section, right? And can you have more than one Smart Guide, different templates open? Yes. Can you have multiple of the same? That having more of the same one has to go back to when you set up that actual template. If you allowed it to have more than one, if you said they can only have two, then that's it. They'll only be able to have two Smart Guides open with that. Now, can a user take off this guide? Yes, they can delete it or cancel it outright. Or they can configure some parts of the template if they have the rights to do that in a role. If their security allows it, they can. And they can start marking things off on their, so if they say, yep, did this one, and I've done this one, you can see how the progression bar will continue to show their success or their progress throughout the entire guide. Okay, so that's exporting and importing. So let's talk about the next thing real quick. Let me get to that slide 1 second. Right here. Okay, so that's exporting and importing. And the next thing has to do with access. So I sent you the recording on the roles. If you watched it, you would know how to create a role in the system. So we can go in. So let me show you a little something. I'm still logged in as the admin. I'm going to go to the admin section and specifically roles right here underneath the user panel. And I'm going to create a new role. And all this role is going to do is configure the activity guides. Okay, so I'm going to create a role, and I'm going to call it Smart Guide, not Activity Guides, Smart Guides. Okay, and for users with access to Smart Guide templates. Okay. So I'm going to give some regular users access that they don't have right now. So I'm going to go down, and by the way, these columns that you see here at the top are going to scoot off the top of the page. So I'm going to just have to tell you what they are, okay? Because I've memorized most of them. Okay, so and the only ones you need to know is the second column. So for the Smart Guide activity templates, like there's no people yet in this role. I'm going to add them in a minute, okay? So for the second column, this is called access type, okay? So the first one's access. Do they have access? Yes, no, enabled, disabled, right? And I'm going to make this enabled, and I'm going to give them admin and developer rights, okay? So the teams don't matter to them. They can see all the Smart Guides. Developer means that they can see it on the admin page. So they're going to get an admin now in their user profile. And I'm going to do this also for the stages. So enable, admin and developer. Same thing for stages, because I want them to be able to see and do all of this, okay? So you got to click in it once to enable the drop down, and then you can select your choice. Enable. And Smart Guides, obviously, yes. And if you've been trained on the web logic hooks, sure. If not, then I would not give them the web logic hook section. That's fine. That's up to you. So I'm going to give these to everybody, admin and developer. So that's once again means that any team that is associated to the template, they'll be able to see even if they're not in the team. So it's going to look like they have admin access to all the records for Smart Guides. And developer means that they will have access to on the admin page. Okay. So once I have that section done, I'm going to go down to save first. Don't add the users until you click save, because it's not going to go, wait a minute, you didn't save. It's just going to add the users and it will erase everything you just did in this little grid. Okay. Now I'm going to go down and I'm going to give just certain people, not everybody, access to this. So I actually know that they're on the second page here, or at least one of them is at the bottom. So Will, he is a sales manager east, and Sarah, and their boss, Jim. See that he was on the page before. Jim. Well, did I not go far enough? No? Okay, I'm going to add them and then I'll add Jim. So unlike Teams, the manager doesn't come along automatically. You have to select them. It's just the people in the role. So I'm just going to do an active Jim. Search. Oh, is he inactive? Okay, that's fine. Let's just add those two then. I can log in as Will. Okay, so Will and Sarah have this extra functionality. So if I log out of the admin, so as soon as I save it, then they have access to it. So I'm going to go into log in and do Will, tab Will. And I'm going to let that load because it's loading in his access to the admin page now. Okay, so let's let it finish. Loading, excellent. Oh, okay. Dismiss. Just give me a little piece of information that's changed. He hasn't logged in this instance. So now he has an admin. He did not have that before. And he can change things in Studio. So he has access to change things in Studio. So he can go just for the smart guides. So here are all the smart guide, the templates, the stages, etc., all of their particular views. So if he wanted to go into the stage, he can do layouts, add new fields, relationships, etc. But if he goes into the menu here, down here at the very bottom, where it says Smart Guides, he can view the smart guides himself, no matter what the team. So that shows the progress and the momentum for that particular task. And he can see the stages. Okay. And if he goes into, like, let's say an opportunity and someone else has opened up a particular stage. Oh, not show more, sorry, smart guide. Let's say like this one already has one in, he will be able to see the configure the template section. Like, so the admin, Jen, could do it, and now he can go in and update the template itself, right? If he wants to add some more activities, and a whole new stage, he now has access to do those changes. See right here, he has the add stage button. He can go down here and add a new task meeting call, okay? Or delete the stage outright. His choice. He could put actions on a particular one, sub activities, etc. Okay? So that's how you give someone additional access that may not have it out of the box because they're a regular user. The difference is they don't go through the admin page to get to the configuration. They go actually to the actual activity itself. I'm sorry, the actual record. And on the particular, in this case, quick deal, they pull up configure template. A regular user will not have that option. They will not be able to configure a template if they're a regular user and they're not in a role that allows them to do that configuration. Okay? All right, so that's setting up access control. All right, let me go back to the slides here. So that's this section, right? We filled out this column, the access type and the access. So they was enabled, and access type means they have admin. No matter what the team is, they can see it. And developer means they can not only go to the admin page and go to Studio for the templates, the stages in the activities, stages, actions, the template itself, just a smart guide in general, and then also the web hooks. So we gave them access to everything. So they could do that even though they're a regular user. Okay, but you have to give it to them. It's not going to be automatically given to them. The next two things that we're going to talk about, we're going to cover in another section, which is next week. So next Monday, Tuesday, we're going to do processes. So Sugar BPM, and we will discuss a portion of that as Smart Guide processes, and that trigger them or start them or change something in them. And then also, how do you report on it? So the report section will be on Thursday of next week, and we'll cover that particular section then. I want to show you first how to create reports, and then specifically we'll talk about creating reports on Smart Guides, because that's like another level up to create a specific report for a particular Smart Guides stages or activities or whatever, right? To see how far people are going or what actual times are, things like that. Okay. So we talked about what are smart guides, why we need to use them, or why would you use them, examples of both marketing, or all three: marketing, sales, and customer support, or the after you sell to a customer, you may have some smart guides associated with that. The basic smart guide interface, what a user will see, and then we went into how an admin could create a template, add stages and activities and actions to it, and then we discussed managing it. Okay, so next week is Sugar BPM and reports. Okay, sorry I went over on this section and had to record it, but things happen. Hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.